What is up? How's it going? How have you been? It's time to get back into St. John. It's been a week, and I've been thinking a lot about the first video. Some of you left some really positive feedback, and I thank you so much for tuning into my first ever City Skylines video. But we've got a lot of work to do. I'm gonna start this video off with a bit of a time lapse. We're gonna fix some things because last episode I ended and I was really disappointed with some of our things here, especially this part of the town. As you can see here now, I'm gonna be kind of bulldozing a whole lot of the city just to kind of rearrange our lot sizes, because some of you pointed out rightfully that it was very narrow, and it's not a good thing. We need at least 2 lots in between roads. That's kind of realistic. So that's what we're gonna do now. This might still be pretty bad. I might still go back and fix a lot of these things, but I'll tell you what, it looks a whole of a lot better once I'm done rearranging this kind of stuff. I'm just here fixing some zoning. That section looks so much better. Now this is a pretty substantial change, not the most realistic one. We are going to go through here and basically change the street layout and rezone this stuff. You will see in a second, I'll be also moving our school and basketball court, which is not the most realistic thing, but also not the craziest either. I think at the end it just it looks a lot nicer this way. It gives us the ability to zone more houses in, and it makes these lots a lot more realistic looking, which I'm very happy about. You see me fixing a bit more zoning here, so we maximize the space we can zone. But look at this. This is so much better than the first episode. Thank you all so much for the feedback. I really enjoyed reading the comments from you guys, so keep them going, keep them coming. Here I hit play and just kind of let it grow up a little bit. So what's the plan for today's episode? The plan is to basically do everything we didn't do in the last one. And we didn't do a hell of a lot in the last one, so we're gonna do garbage services, postal services. We're gonna expand the city to the right of the screen right now. So we're gonna do a lot of things today, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed this episode just as much as you did the first one, and if you do, please subscribe for more cities content. We're going to talk a little bit about Cities 2 today as well, because some of you were asking if I was going to try that game once it comes out in a couple of days. So yeah, let's get back into the game. Alright, doesn't that look great? All this stuff filled in. There are some really odd 1U zoning here that I might also rethink. Maybe reduce these houses in size, but in general I like this layout a whole of a lot better. But I do like what I'm seeing here, especially this area over here. I feel like this would be the best place to live. But how great does this look? This little nook with basketball. Who's gonna win? Come on. Ooh, that was nice. I also like our little commercial strip here. I think it's looking nice. We got a little off-brand IHOP. Not sure about this asset. I'm not a big fan. But I'm gonna make a couple of these historical because they look absolutely delicious. We might change this road for something else with maybe parking on the side. That would be a little bit more realistic. But I do not mind the vibe of this so far. Alright, so we got a lot of things to do today. Big shout out to all of you once again for commenting on my first ever video on City Skylines. It's super encouraging to see. Thank you so much. Like you just saw, we fixed a bunch of zoning. This looks slightly better. Well, in some places anyway. But we're gonna fix this really quick, but I just wanted to lay out what we're doing today. Also, before that, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Mr. BlueCat48, who commented on the previous video saying that we should name this little town of Rockwood, because apparently this whole map is actually based on Canadian city St. John in New Brunswick, and this particular area right here is something that's known as Rockwood Park, a huge park north of the city. I honestly never really knew anything about St. John, so when I looked at the city on Google Maps, I was shocked by how different the area that we started in looks, how different of an approach we chose. But I kind of like that as well. I don't really want to rebuild cities the same way they are in real life, so we're gonna make our own little thing here. I hope you don't mind. But yeah, Blue Cat 48, we are absolutely going to take your suggestion to name this little town Rockwood. It's not going to be the name of the whole series, of course, the whole series is St. John, but this little town can be Rockwood. I like it. Do you ever just make something and then you look back at it and you absolutely hate it? This was me at the end of editing this episode. I realized that the things that I've built in this episode and the things that I've done with the city were just not really exciting or cool. I decided to go back and basically rebuild stuff, but in a better way. I don't know if it's much better than it was before, but I'm much happier at the end, so that is all that matters to me. So building cities is hard. It's a lot harder than like sitting there in complete silence and doing it on my own than to do it actually for a YouTube video, so that's not something I expected, but hey, here we are. So as you can see right now, I'm just redoing some of the new road network, or I guess doing, because you haven't really seen me do it the first time because I deleted everything I've done before. But you can see me transform that little road we had into an arterial, a big 4-lane arterial. Currently I'm adding a little bit of a smaller road that's gonna act like a back alleyway for our commercial zoning. And we're even gonna fit in some low residential here beside the football pitch behind the high school. But this is going to be our new little region of a town where we are going to perhaps build some high density residential. You can see me now build this kind of contour that follows more or less the coast. I really like that. I'm gonna continue this big arterial as well. Try to make it not super redundant because we do have a highway that's basically the same thing on the side, but here you can see me fill out more grids, or cul-de-sacs rather, and another cul-de-sac here. So this is slightly better than what it used to be before. At least there is some logic behind the roads. There is some hierarchy, what road is more important and what isn't. Here you can see me start zoning some high density residential and commercial. I tried experimenting with some different shapes, but at the end of the day I just kind of went back on it and blanket zoned everything. Looked better anyway. Here I am, of course, zoning some low density for some nice coastal houses. And finally, just spamming everything with trees, because famously, trees make everything look better in City Skylines. So this is a fun little thing I decided to do, is detail up some of the coast, because I didn't really like how it looked. I'm adding this like a grassy, marshy type of thing to sell this as a bit of a more swampy area rather than a beach, because that's what it would be in real life, technically. Yeah, so I'm just filling these gaps in, kind of giving up halfway through here and just deciding to drop some rocks to make a nice little rock formation. That'd be a cool view from the town, I think. Yeah, you can see me just kind of spamming them randomly, but looks nice. Looks nice. Good job, Bogdan. My next step was to kind of add some paths. These, I mean, they're kind of okay. They're not going to be used that much, but for the looks, I like the idea of having some coastal walking infrastructure. Of course, connecting to all the cul-de-sacs and other roads so that people have choices. It's important to provide people with choices. Connecting to some existing frames that we have. Once again, making some more trails into the woods. What are our Sims going to be doing there? I don't know. And another one here to connect it back to the high school. Perfect. This looks great. Some more paths behind our high-density residential. Just to kind of provide some nice hiking trails for the people in our town. And the last part is this little region that I actually didn't really show you, but it's not anything special. You can just see it's some low density with a arterial having some commercial on it. Pretty typical City Skyline stuff. And a little bus depot. I also didn't show you this before, but we do have some bus lines now. I'll show it to you later in the episode. I'm sorry. This is so disorganized. Horrible start. Delete the whole series and start over, is what I was thinking. But no, we're gonna keep going, at least until we get bored of Cities 1 and jump into Cities 2 full time. So this is me kind of rethinking, redrawing some of the hierarchy here in the industrial zone. So again, industry in Cities 1 is not super realistic in that, especially a generic one, in that you can just kind of build grids of industry the same way you do residential, which is not entirely unrealistic, but I don't know, something about it is just very artificial and kind of weird about it. Things don't look like that in real life, but then again, this is not real life. I'm not trying to win awards for the most realistic city ever. So you see me, I added some offices. We're gonna go back on that because we're not ready yet for offices in this city. Added some parking, because of course, why not? And we're just gonna expand this little highway to go wherever it needs to go in the future. But just to have that frame ready for us. Cool, so that is basically the edits. You can see me just kind of adding a bit more zoning here. Gonna add more zoning on this side. Again, gonna go back on some of those shapes, just to have blanket zoning. It's better anyway. Yeah. But I'm much happier with how this looks. You don't want to see what it looked like before, but let's get back into live play and talk about it. Okay, we are back. It's been a long way to this episode, but we are back. Let me just quickly update you on everything that's changed. We are still going to change some things. For example, this avenue, of course, has pretty bad markings for the parking. We're going to change that shortly, but essentially what we have changed since the last time you saw this city, we added this little region, which now has a nice little football pitch with some parking. I think it's a nice little park area for our citizens to use. Of course, we have some residential over here, with some of the residential zoning going onto this 4-lane arterial, which is not the worst thing ever, so I'm gonna keep it. Over on this side, we have some residential high density. I'm going to maybe go back and rethink some of this, but I do like the vibe of some high density being present in this region. Of course, we've also crossed the river, or the little stream rather, to this part of town, which now is kind of the high density center of the town. We have a whole bunch of residential here with stunning views of the region and potentially the downtown of whatever city we built here. So I think people living here would have absolutely amazing views. I've fixed some of the ground texture here. It's now nice and green grass, which I like. I've of course added a whole bunch of vegetation here to kind of sell this as a bit of a marshy, swampy coast for these two streams going into the lake. I think it's kind of nice. I don't know how much realistic this is, but I am planning to do some nice little work with maybe paths, maybe some bridges, to kind of sell this area as a nice little park. I've also added a whole bunch of paths, as you can see, very, very popular among our citizens, already using a whole bunch of them. But basically it connects some regions. Some of them are a bit redundant, but I would imagine people go into the park and do other kinds of things there. Of course, aside from the high density stuff with some commercial, we have expanded some low density here as well, with some nice big lots, and some low density on this little, not really peninsula, but this little hook here. We have some residential. We're gonna fix some gaps in detailing, so don't worry about those. There's still some stuff to be filled out, as you can see. Actually, no, this is I left this to make a little gated park. First one in town. So that's to come in this episode. I've also built this arterial. Like you may have noticed, my previous build, the one that I've demolished, did not have any kind of road hierarchy, really. So instead, we have made this beautiful little 4-lane avenue going through the town and into the high density zone to kind of sell this as more of an important road going through town. And then of course with a simple connection to the highway and another connection here for the industrial area, which, yes, we also have an industrial area which does not have a lot of workers, and that is because I've zoned a whole bunch of office here, and now that I think about it, we are too small and too young for the office. So we are going to remove that and just zone industrial for now. But in general, that is the changes. That is where we've put our town now. Of course, we also have our little garbage processing, is something that I also did in that scrapped episode. I've also relocated our coal power plant to this side to make way for some other interesting things, maybe even more residential on this side of the highway as well. So this is where we are now. Let's figure out what we're doing in this episode. We are going to be tidying up some of our gaps. I'm going to be relooking at this, maybe even plopping down some residential instead of zoning to make a bit of a better panorama. And we are going to expand further to this part of town. This is going to be also primarily residential, but of course we will have some kind of a town center commercial. And as you can probably imagine, this will make this town quite of a lot bigger. We started off with just this in the last episode, and now we have all of this around, and of course we'll have this area at the end of the episode, which brings us to the question, is this a town anymore? Maybe it's a city. Of course, we will also expand our bus network to connect more neighborhoods. We currently have just 2 bus lines rather. We will rethink maybe some of these because now we have expanded our road hierarchy, of course. But yeah, a lot of work to do, so let's get to it. Without further ado, thank you so much for all the feedback in the first episode. I really am trying my best to make this series as fun as possible, so that's why I'm going back and redoing a lot of things. But yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so we have cleaned some gaps up. I've plopped some nicer looking residential buildings here. Kind of tidied up some stuff that I left untidy. This area looks sweet though. I'm really liking how this turned out. Some fence detailing. Over in this area we created a nice big park with lots of amenities. I really also like this. I think this is a nice aesthetic. I feel like I've seen a lot of this before. Not quite sure what to do with this part yet. Maybe we just do a good old tree. You know, trees are important. They are what make you able to breathe. So I'm gonna plant some more trees here. When in doubt, plant trees. That is my rule for this series. Let's add a quick little path here. Just to imagine that our garbage trucks go all the way around. Maybe even... Oh god. Oh no. No. Let's not do that. Let's not even connect them. Just no point. And maybe add a little fence all the way around. I feel like that would be a nice addition to this little corner gas station. I like this. I like this a lot, actually. Let's make this historical while we're at it. Okay, so let's start out with this. And I do like working with a pretty... Oh my... Not like that. Pretty nice level terrain. So we're gonna more or less make this a bit flat so it's easier for us to work with. We have this 4-lane avenue stretching all the way through town and basically ending here. We want to make sure that we maintain some kind of hierarchy because this is a big connection. This basically mirrors the highway on this part. So we do want to make sure we're not making any more connections here to not let this be used as a slip highway, as a secondary highway. So we want to make sure we maintain that hierarchy, of course, to the highway. But let's get going. Let's enable snapping. First of all, and let's just kind of keep this road straight, very straight, very North American, very common to just have the straightest road out there. I think we will just bring this road to prepare to cross this little stream. How about we make a little couplet system? Couplet systems are really fun to do and they are quite cool. So let's imagine... What is the longest? This is the longest. Okay. Let's imagine something like this. And this. Now this is not an ideal connection and I have a solution for this. It's a bit of a sketchy one, and if you don't have much experience with what was it called? Node controller? It might be a little scary. But trust me, there's nothing better than a nice looking connection. So what we're gonna do now is, first of all, we need to remove a node. Perfect. What we'll do here is basically stretch this out to around here. Then we will bring this back, and now a quick little trick. We will shift this road to essentially be straight. How cool is this? Now making markings for this is going to be hell, and I'm not really looking forward to it, so we're probably not going to focus on that too much. I'm going to hang this road back a little bit too. I'm going to get rid of that tear in fabric of reality. So of course the game does not like what we're doing here. This is not how intersections are meant to be working in vanilla cities. So it's going to give us a whole bunch of errors, because as you can see, it's not even recognizing it as a road. It still sees it as this like curve. Of course it will show up all good on traffic, so cars will actually go here instead of making the same curve. But I think we can deal with this after with some detailing. Yeah, something like this is pretty adequate, I think. So now we have an interesting little couplet system. Not super efficient because it's a very short couplet system. But I just wanted to try something a bit different. There's a lot of ways we can try and justify something like this. Cool, so we have our main kind of thing where we're going to have our commercial, maybe some high density residential, I'm not quite sure. But off of this now, let's build our neighborhoods. So we will go through and do something like this. I like this. So we have an opportunity to maybe make a connection somewhere here in the future. We will think about it, see how this grows up. But for now, let us start zoning some commercial. So again, we'll start with the low density. I don't want to... What is going on in here? How did this happen to me? What is going on with the zoning, man? I'm really hoping when City Skylines 2 drops, the zoning is a lot less janky than this, because oh my goodness, why won't it let me draw a proper, like, completely straight, snapping everything on? Why do you do this to me? Oh, I mean, it's not perfect as you can see, but it's fine, it'll do us the job. Okay, let's, I like doing this. Let's divide our commercial, and yeah, we can do something like this. Maybe even this. Maybe even this. Provide some pedestrian connectivity. Yeah, we can allow some nice little redundancy. Perfect. That is a good frame. I want to do a little pedestrian connection over here as well. That is nice. I like that. All for pedestrians. Maybe even here. I don't see myself building on this corner, so this is good. This is good. Okay. We have our initial frame. Let's keep zoning our commercial. See what grows up. Unfortunately, can't zone here. We will have to plop something instead. Cool. Now on to residential. Awesome. This is our initial frame. Let's make this a little pretty. Awesome. Let's actually, before we hit play, let's also add in some services, because of course this is far away from everything. So that is our three main services. Schools, we will hold on with schools for now, just because I don't know what's going to happen here. We will put elementary here. You know what? We will put elementary. We will go back on this zoning, and we will put down a quick little one-U, one-way system here. And then plop a little... Oh, why do I always forget about the zoning tool? Let's put it here. Maybe also place a basketball court next to it. Perfect. Perfection. This is awesome. I would love to be a kid and go to this school, because this is a lot of fun. Let's hit play. While this is growing up, let's also bring a little bus connection here, because it's important. We need buses. Buses are important. And while we're here, first of all, let's also set up our line. So this is going to be, what is this town going to be called? We're going to name it after one of you guys. So drop a comment, tell me you want this town to be named after you, and we will make it happen. And we will rename the bus route to be, of course, the same name, but for now it's just going to be 03. Last bus line that I want to drag out is, of course, this high density residential / low density commercial zone, because of course this would definitely need a bus stop. We will definitely rethink this in the future, but for now we will do this. But we will have to definitely rethink this bus line in the future. This little town is growing up. Let's signify that this in fact is a different town. This is it. Perfect. Set our district. We do not want to name it that. And the rest, realistically, would be Rockwood. So let's officialize it. Awesome. How is our temporary town doing? We will name you in the next episode. How are you doing? We're growing up nicely, but this is nice. I am a big fan of this vibe. A little coastal town with all the services you need, all the commercial. This is a dream, honestly, to have a township like this instead of just it being all residential. I feel like this is a nice little distinction. Of course, we have some problems already. Land value. So this is something we will tackle in the next episode. We will think about ways we can increase our land value, because it is important to have good land value, because as you can see, people are complaining despite having this view. Imagine complaining when you look out in the window, you see this, you say low land value. But of course, we don't really have any services here, so that is understandable. We will go back to it and fix it in episode number 3. So, I know I said I was going to work on this area too, but just working on our little temporary town and fixing some detailing took a lot of time already, so I'm going to let you go. I thank you so much for coming out for episode number 2. A bit of a disaster at first, but we made it work at the end, I think. The town is growing up really nicely. We already have some high density. We already have some buses going through and some nice parks. Currently nobody's really in this park, because why would they be? There's nothing here. Lame park. But yeah, once again, I love all of your comments in the previous episode. You really helped me, guys, with some stuff, especially like zoning, road frames. So all of that, really welcome on the channel. I thank you so much for watching our first episode, and I welcome you to comment even more in episode number 2 rather, and come back for episode number 3 next week. City Skylines is right around the corner. Let me know if I should have a crack at it and start a series there as well when it comes out. But that is all from me. This was St. John, a beautiful town of Rockwood / temporary town. This is our progress. I feel like this is a nice progress. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you shortly next week. All right. Bye-bye.